Welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about the Richter scale now, earthquakes. So in 1935, Charles R. Richter developed a formula for measuring a magnitude of an earthquake. The Richter scale magnitude M of an earthquake is defined by M is equal to the log A over A naught, where A is the amplitude of the ground motion, and A naught is the measure of some standard earthquake, so used as a frame of reference. We're going to write this in exponential form. So really, I'm just going to maybe try to clarify what's going on before here. A over A naught is, we can treat that as one quantity, if you will, right? Earthquakes are really, really interesting. So I'm just going to write M is equal to the log of A over A naught. And since there's no base that is written, it is assumed to be 10. So let us write this in exponential form. We may find it, I always find it more useful if I just change it so it looks like this. I like my logs on the left-hand side. That's just the way I am. So to change log into exponential form, we can just say 10 to the power of m is equal to A over A naught, where A is the magnitude of our current earthquake that we're discussing, and A naught is the magnitude. Really, really fascinating stuff, I think anyways. So this is just a measurement of how powerful of an earthquake is. So for instance, we can measure our earthquake, we say, hey, we'll give that power A, and then maybe way back in 1935, Charles Richter came up with the amount of energy released by a standard earthquake. We'll release the energy released by our earthquake by that standard, and then we get that ratio A over A naught. Anyways, this is going to be really, really useful. But now, here's a weird idea that I'm going to get into. When I was a small kid, I often thought that earthquakes had a Richter scale from 1 to 10. Is that true? So let us get back to that. So in 1960, Chile experienced an earthquake with a magnitude of 9.5 on the Richter scale. Now that is probably very devastating. In 2020, Izmir, Turkey was devastated by an earthquake that killed 118 people and measured 7.0 on the Richter scale. How many times as great was the Chilean earthquake than the Turkish earthquake? How much more energy was released? Well, here I know that the Richter scale M is defined as log base 10 of A over A naught. So I'm going to talk about the Chilean one over here, if that's okay with you. Chile. So the magnitude or the amount of energy released by the Chilean, I'm going to define it as AC. And what I know is that the magnitude was 9.5 log 10 AC over A naught. And we can write that in exponential form. So really, AC over A naught is equal to 10 to the power of 9.5. So really, what I can see here is how much greater energy is the Chilean relative to some standard A naught. Well, the energy released is going to be 10, sorry, I should erase that. I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation here by A naught. So AC is going to be equal to A naught times 10 to to the power of 9.5. And this doesn't have very much use so far. However, the Turkish earthquake had a Richter scale of 7. So just starting with my very basic definition of the Richter scale, log 10, where AT, now since I'm going to put T as subscript for Turkish, over A0. So now I can define this or change it to exponential form, and AT over A0 is going to be equal to 10 to the power of M. And here, our Turkish earthquake was 7. So if I want to get AT relative to A0, I'm going to multiply both sides by A0. So AT, the amount of energy in AT, is going to be A0 times 10 to the power of 7. So I have this quantity and I have this quantity. Let's get back to the question. How many times as great was the Chilean earthquake than the Turkish earthquake? What this is really asking for is how much times bigger is AC than AT? Well, AT or AC, the Chilean earthquake, the energy was described as A0 times 10 to the power of 9.5. AT is described as A0 times 10 to the power of 7. And what we see is that we both have a factor of A0 in the numerator and the denominator, so I'm going to cancel that out. So AC over AT is going to be equal to the ratio of 10 to the power of 9.5 divided by 10 to the power of 7. Now you can use your exponent laws, but I'm going to reach out for my calculator here. 10 to the power of 9.5 divided by 10 to the power of 7. So going from what my answer is 23. Isn't that weird? The Chilean earthquake was 316 times more powerful than the Turkish earthquake. And yet, the Richter scale was 7, and then it went up to 9.5. So we only went up 2.5, but really, we went up, the amount of energy was 316 times greater. Now, why is that? Let's go back to here. I'm hoping it's here. Uh-oh, it disappeared on me. I think